wonderful morning to all our listeners out there. You're welcome to Political Perspective on iPower 102.7 FM, Emurele Owo. This is a program dedicated to analyzing, slicing, and dicing all political events in the last 1 week across Ondo State and Nigeria. My name is ALABA ADEYEMI. Once again, I welcome you. Several political actions went down last week, most especially the by-election that took place in several states across the country to fill the vacant legislative seats in the state house assemblies, the House of Reps, and the House of Senate across the country. In Edo State, there was an election to fill the Edo Central Senatorial district that has been made vacant by the election of Senator Monday Okpebolo as the governor of Edo State. And also in Anambra State, 2 seats were also vacant. So also in Kano State, Oyo State, and several other states across the nation, including Adamawa State. This morning, we shall be looking at the outcome of the election and what it spells for the political atmosphere of our country and the recently formed political coalition known as the ADC. With me today is a political analyst and a journalist, Mr. Akin Adebayo. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning.
First of all, let us look at the general outcome. Let me get your opinion on the general outcome of the election held last week, where the ruling All Progressive Congress obviously dominated the results in most of the states. Would you say that despite all the complaints on social media, the APC is still the darling party of Nigerians, or other things played out in the election?
Thank you very much, Presenter. Well, like you rightly asked, that's dominate. I would want to use that adjective dominate. I would have said probably won majority of the by-election seats.
Would it not be appropriate to say dominate if the contest was for about 16 seats and the APC took about 12 of it? Yeah. Wouldn't it be appropriate to say dominate?
Now when you say dominate, it might be misinterpreted. And probably APC used its incumbent power to muzzle down other political parties. But in this contest, it was a contest. They all went to the polling units to exercise their voting rights. And as a matter of fact, APC come out, should I say, more victorious in the election. So that is why I said I would rather said the victory of the ruling party, not dominate. But anyway, be that as it may, any adjective you want to use, let us just go ahead with the discussion. Now, like you rightly asked, that was it as a result of APC being a daring party, or probably other factors you were involved? Number one, when we talk about power in African context, and in Nigeria to be precise, people tend to like gravitate towards power. You know, power is just like honey or honeycomb, as the case may be, where you see ants, rushing towards it. That is power. We're talking about a party, or a party that is presently at the helm of affairs, a party that has the power of the treasury, a party that has the power of the security. So no doubt, all these things will definitely play out. But most importantly, many people just still see APC as probably the daring party. I think that is why they all went out to vote, because we never heard of ballot box snatching, we never heard of probably money sharing, we never heard of maybe any electoral malpractices so far. in the various by-elections. So I can, to a large extent, come to the conclusion that APC appears to be the daring party at the moment. Thank you very much.
Well, for the benefit of our listeners, let us run through how the elections played out in several states across the nation. In Kano State, the contest was for two seats in the House of Assembly, the State House Assembly. In one of the seats, that is Bagwe and Bagwe Shanono State Assembly, the NNPP's candidate Al Azan won the seat by 16,198 votes, compared to the APC candidate who scored about 5,000 votes. That is specifically 5,347 votes. In Geri and Siawa constituency, the APC's Garba Gwarmai won the election with 31,472 votes, while the closest rival, Yusuf Megado scored 27,931 votes. That is in Kano, APC won 1, and the NNPP, the ruling NNPP in Kano State, won 1. In Kaduna State, the seat that was up for grabs in Kaduna State was a federal constituency seat, Chikun Kajuru Federal Constituency. APC's Fidelis Bagudu won the seat with 34,580 votes, while his closest rival, that is the candidate of the PDP, got 11,491 votes, while the candidate of the ADC, the new coalition party, got 3,477 votes. Then there was also a state constituency election in that particular state. The ruling APC also coasted home to victory in that regard. In Oyo State, the candidate of the PDP, Fola Oyekunle, won the Federal House of Representatives seat for that area. He was returned elected. He scored about 18,404 votes, while Adewale Olatunji of the APC scored 8,312 votes, while candidate of the ADC, ABGA, and ZLP all trailed behind, according to reports. Let me also quickly check that of the Ogun State. In Ogun State, there was what was up for grabs was the Remo Federal Constituency seat that the former occupant actually died not long ago, and in that area, Mrs. Elegbeji of the APC also was declared the winner with 41,237 votes against his closest rival, Bolariwa Oluwole of the PDP, who got just 14,324 votes. In Anambra, APGA pulled a shocking one because a lot of people expected that the candidate endorsed by the former presidential candidate, that is Peter Obi, would have won that election or would have performed well. But the APGA's candidate won in the election. Let me read that for the senatorial seat that was up for grab, Emmanuel Uwanchukwu of the APGA got 90,408 votes, while Azuka Okwosa of the All Progressive Congress, who was the closest rival, got 19,847 votes, while Donald Amagbo of the ADC got just 2,889 votes. Can we start from Anambra State? Would you say that the Obi effect is dwindling, or what played out in Anambra is the fact that every politics is local?
Yeah, thank you very much. Number one, we must consider the locality of politics. all politics is very local. No matter how much you try to like paint it, it is local. So that is one part. Secondly, you cannot rule out the power or the influence of the current or the incumbent governor. Like I said the other time, that people tend to like gravitate towards power because we all know what is obtainable in having power. We all know the benefits that is enshrined in you supporting someone that is in power or that is on government at the moment. So we cannot rule out the influence of the sitting governor there in person of Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo. That is one. Now, concerning the issue of probably Obi's dwindling popularity and or what have you, of course, you know, there is one thing like they saying in Yoruba that and tó bá fẹ́ mọ bí wọ́n ṣe lóyún ìyá ẹ̀ lọ́ba kò tí ì dìbò. Do you understand? That is one. And prior 2023 general election, nobody knows much about Peter Obi. So that was why he was able to have such organic followership during that general election of 2023. But after the election, many things begin to like crop up. His past, his mistakes, and what have you. There is no way this will not have a negative effect on his political history or on his political weight or on his political strength. It will definitely have a negative effect. Now, should we not say that is his popularity dwindling? It may be yes and it may be no. We're talking about the election of probably just as the House of Representatives Assembly. I don't know.
A senatorial seat was up for grab and about 2 other state constituencies.
Is all right. Now, we're talking about a by-election in a state, you know, and thirdly, we're talking about not Obi actually came out on the platform of Labour Party then. Now he has jumped ship to ADC, a new party of strange bedfellows coming together. And we all know how far those people now, how their person have been bashed, what have been said about them. People have gone to dig out, their history. And the history is not a too soothing one to the ear. So there is no way to not have one effect or the other. I think these are the things that actually played out. So, you know, had it been Obi still in his Labour Party, and probably the candidate is supported, came out on the platform of the Labour Party, it might be a different story or a different ballgame entirely. But APC is a new party, or should I say, is a conglomerate or a coalition, so to speak, of string bedfellows with, in quote, questionable characters, as other opportunities have said. So there's no way to not have an effect on this candidate. Thank you.
Mr. Akanibayo, please, I beg your pardon. Let me make a quick correction. First of all, in Anambra State, only 2 seats were contested. Only 2 seats were contested during that by-election. The seat to replace the late Senator Ifeanyi Uba, who died recently, and the seat occupied by a particular legislature who was kidnapped and subsequently killed. Those are the 2 seats. That is for Onitsha North State Constituency and the senatorial seat. Those were the 2 seats, not 3 seats. It were 2 seats, and both seats were won by the All Progressive Grant Alliance candidates in those regions. Let me also refer to all the states before we take the next question. In Kogi State, the Okura constituency of Kogi State, APC Azan Shado secured 55,073 votes to defeat its closest rival of the People's Democratic Party, that is who earned just 1,038 votes. This figures is now looking like a total annihilation, because 55,000 to 1,000 is not a joke. Their closest rival, the third person who came third, got just 445 votes only. That is the candidate of the Allied People's Movement. In Jigawa State, APC's Ribado Mukhtar won the by-election held on Saturday in Garki Baruba Federal Constituency. Garki Baruba Federal Constituency where Mukhtar scored 38,449 votes, while his closest rival, Isha Awal of the PDP, scored 39,519 votes, while the next person, who is the candidate of the NNPP, actually scored 2,931 votes. In Edo State, our neighboring Edo State here, according to the Independent National Electoral Commission, APC's Omosede Igbinedion was declared the winner of the Ovia Federal Constituency by-election on Saturday. That is the election to replace the current deputy governor of the state. Miss Igbinedion scored 77,053 votes, while their closest rival, that's the candidate of the PDP and the ADC, got 3,838 and 925 votes respectively. In the Edo Central Senatorial District, which I mentioned the other time, which was the election to replace the current governor of that state, Monday Okpebolo, APC's Joseph Ikpea scored 105,129 votes, while his closest rival, Joe Okoji of the PDP, scored 15,146 votes only. In Niger State, all that played out. Generally, if you visit the cyberspace in Nigeria, especially the social media space, you would get the impression that the APC is no longer popular. You would get the impression that the APC has been rejected by a majority of Nigerians. But looking at the results of the election, the contrary is the case. How do we address the lacuna between what is on the social media and what played out in real terms?
Thank you very much, President. Number one, like I said the whole time, politics is local and you play it locally. Now, election is not won on social media space. I put it to you, there are so many people that don't even have this access to the social media. I mean, the people that actually goes out there to vote, people that stays under the scorching sun, people that stays under, should I say, the drizzling rain to cast their vote. They are not those on the social media, what have you. It is the so-called elites, the so-called educated ones that are on the social media. People that go out there to vote, these are the market women, these are the farmers, these are the artisans.
Are you suggesting that educated Nigerians don't vote?
Of course, the largest I can say that, and I can defend that at any point in time.
So, what do the educated Nigerians do during election?
Very good. A very good question. What educated Nigeria normally does during election is they are glued to their TV, monitoring the election right there from their TV, monitoring the election right there from their phones on social media. That's why you see, I want to use this derogatory word, that noise making on social media, no. But that is why you see them campaigning heavily on social media. And that is why we've been saying it, that you might be a very good, you might be coasting to victory on social media. But when it comes to the real electoral process of you going out there, standing on the queue, under the scorching sun, under the drizzling rain to win an election, is mostly done by the illiterates. And that is why it appears that most of the time, the majority we have their say, minority we have their way. The minority knows the angle they should go to. They know the people that can patronize. They know the people that go out there. Look, majority of the so-called educated person, they don't even have voter's card. We are too big to go out there. We believe that this person as contesting for assembly, contesting for House of Reps, contesting for governor, it's not better than I am, which you are right. But you've forgotten that for you to have any effective change, for you to make a reasonable change, you equally need to go out there and cast the vote. By the time you now decide that, okay, I'm too big, I can't, because of somebody, then that discussion, so under this drizzling rain, That's how to sit back home and monitor it from your TV, monitor it from your social handles. Then the people that can be bought over will go out there and first Jack Robinson, the person that is able to manipulate them in his own favor, will coast to victory. That's what actually took place there. And secondly, you cannot overflog the influence or underplay the influence of the governors. If you look at the trajectory of the results you just reeled out now, discover that there's no governor that did not win a state, except probably for NNPP of Kano that shared it with the APC. And you cannot rule out the influence of probably the immediate governor or slash the immediate past APC chairman, person of Ganduje, from Kano, politics. So these are the things. So the governors still have, should I say, a very strong hold of their various states. So you cannot really undermine the influence of the governors from such election. We are talking about, by-election. The governor is not the one contesting. So he has all it takes to influence things in his favor, particularly in favor of his party. So I think that is what actually played out there. Thank you very much.
You said many things that might suggest that don't you think that if we are saying that the APC won, and we are also saying that most of those who vote are illiterate, are we suggesting that only the unlettered has been influencing the direction of a political destiny of the country? Are we suggesting that only the uninformed have been voting for the ruling party?
To a large extent, I can say yes. Then the majority of the electorate. Now, the few literate, let me put it this way, the few literate persons are the ones that will go out there to influence the illiterate in their favor. The very few ones. Now, had it been the rate at which those illiterates comes out to vote, the unlettered comes out to vote, in the same way, the literate comes out to vote as well, it might be a different ballgame entirely. But in the case whereby we all are proving to know it all, we like I've earlier said, we are always glued to our TV, glued to our phone, monitoring the election back home, and things are going on there on the election field. So people are easily manipulated in favor of any candidate. Actually, okay, like something happened. Then I used to vote in a particular estate there back in Akure. Now, during the election, these are people that cannot influence. These are, that is an estate. So most of the people that reside there, that are residents there, are lettered. A particular professor, whenever it comes around, all you need to do is to just stand up from your own seat. Daddy, Ejokusa. We make sure that everybody has sat down. So when they are coming, we know them. You just stand up. You allow them to sit down. Daddy, my friend is one professor as for assembly. Your friend. Are you sure you know him? I know him, sir. If I know what is going on, you will go and vote for that your friend. But you can't convince them when it comes to the issue of Senate. You can't convince them when it comes to the issue of governor. You can't convince them when it comes to the issue of president. Because those two people, they know them very, very well. But many of them will know as assembly members, House of Rep members. Well, so that's how the influence normally takes place. Thank you very much.
Let us look at another different issue that just cropped up about 2 days ago. The pastor of Omega Fire's ministry, Johnson Suleiman, called out the chairman of the Dangote groups, that's Aliko Dangote, and in an attempt to link him with the carnage that has been reportedly caused by trailers registered with the company. According to reports, about 3 persons died, were crushed to death in front of the headquarters of the ministry in Auchi last Sunday. Would you put the blame of the constant carnage, because Ondo State has also suffered greatly, especially the Adekunle Ajashi University access has actually suffered greatly from such repeated carnage of trailers, trucks belonging to different owners, ramming into the civilian population, running over traders, running over students and killing them, and sometimes injuring them badly. Would you place all the blame at the doorstep of the owners of the companies alone?
Thank you very much. Number one, Dangote Group is a conglomerate headed by President, that's how they refer to it, is as I've been addressed, President Aliko Dangote, is the president of Dangote Groups. But like I said, it is a conglomerate whereby there are other persons that are actually invested into the Dangote Groups. Now, but of course, there is no way that when you call out anybody, everything still falls back on Dangote himself, because that is his brand name. He's the one that owns the company. So irrespective of whomsoever might have, in one way or the other, invested into the Dangote Groups, probably when it comes to the area of logistics or every other segment, Dangote will still be the one to bear the brunt if anything negative happens, if anything goes south concerning his brand name. He bears the brunt. He takes responsibility for it. So that is by the way, which means that the trucks that actually ram people dead or what have you, of course, actually bears Dangote's brand name. But Dangote may not be the original owner of the truck, which simply means it may not be the direct employee of the driver. You understand? It might not be the one that actually employed that particular driver, because according to what I heard now, you can maybe get like 10 trucks, take it to Dangote. Okay, I want this to be under your logistics department. It gets registered. Now we never can tell. Maybe when they took them there, this my brother, he can call it drive. I want to be employed. And of course, you must surely understand this. By the time you contribute a particular percentage to a particular investment, you still have the right as a director to that company to still, should I say, furnish the company with one or two candidates for employment. So I think that might be what have happened in that case. Now, concerning the candidates that have been going on, the question I would like to ask is this: is it because it took place right in front of Pastor John, Omega Fire Ministry? Is that why he's calling him out now? Why has he not been calling him out before now? Now, if he had been calling him out before now, we never can tell. Probably there would have been a paradigm shift in all that have been happening so far. So what I'm trying to say is that it is not too okay for us to be a victim of any circumstance before we begin to call out. We should always learn to do that calling out at the appropriate time. When we know that something is going wrong, we should endeavor to making sure that, okay, we call out the various authorities in charge of those, not until we are affected directly. And that is where I have the issue with Apostle Joe Suleiman. For him to have called Dangote is very much right. It's very much, but he should have been doing that because it's not the first time, second time, or third time. I think, but this might be a wake-up call to Suleiman anyway, for him to start calling that Dangote. And by the time he starts doing such thing, I think Dangote on his own part will now know how to put his house in order. Thank you very much.
Listeners at home, you can join this discussion on phone line 08165 5224 699 08165 5246 99. That is the studio line which you can call, and you can send us messages via our WhatsApp line. It's the same number 08165 524699. You can send us messages and you can call us. You can also call using the WhatsApp line. For those who might be looking at the cost of airtime now, you can call us on 08165 524699, their phone line and their WhatsApp line. You can also drop text messages in response to all that we have been discussing since we started the program. Some persons have suggested, Mr. Ake, that the appropriate quarter to place the blame is at the doorstep of the government that has been collecting tax, because the Dangote Group is one of the highest taxpayers in this country that has been collecting taxes, then has not provided enabling environment and the required infrastructure for the kind of business that Dangote Group does to survive, to thrive in the country. For example, some persons have suggested that if our railway system had been working, there will be no necessity for having that number of trucks on our road today. What's your opinion on this before we wrap up this program today?
Thank you very much. Well, those who that have suggested, or probably that have put the blame on the government, they are very much correct. Now, there should be some reasonable level of infrastructure to ease or to check some excesses or to check some carnage, so to speak. Particularly when let us narrow it down to the issue of Dangote. There's something that should have been done apart from that is not being put in place by government. Now, like we always say, in saner climes, you cannot expect trucks of such numbers to be plying the same road that cars plies or that many trucks plies. Now, ideally, that should have been a railway, a carriage a haulage railway. Of course, if it were to be that those products were being moved on the railway system, all these things wouldn't have happened. Now, anybody that now wants to get those things will just go there with their small trucks. In fact, they won't even cover long distance. So, railway is the way to go. There are so many trucks that flood Nigerian roads, and the roads are in a terrible condition. Now, we never can tell. It's possible if you take if you try to investigate on what actually happened along that Omega, it might have been as a result of maybe trying to dodge a particular pothole, and that was how the whole thing happened. So what I'm saying is that the road itself is in a terrible state, coupled with the fact that what should have been put in place should have been a rail transportation. All these trucks, probably the one, we've heard about fire incidents whereby a truck will be taking petroleum product to one destination or the other. It's got of trying to dodge one pothole or the other, it falls down, and first it's Jack Robinson. The next thing is a big bang. Everywhere got consumed with fire. But if this thing were to be on the track, on the road track, all the things would have been checked. So to a large extent, putting the blame on the doorstep of the government is a right one. It cannot be overemphasized. It is the government. Now, why are we always clamoring for a change in governance? It's because with the tax money we are paying, we are not seeing the dividend as expected. Look, if today you are paying your tax and you are seeing what you are paying your tax for, you will be happy, you will be eager to pay your tax. In saner climes that they are enjoying those infrastructures, they see that tax is being useful. But in Nigeria, I'm sorry, we cannot really identify what our tax is being used for. So there will always be a cry from the people that the government should do the right thing to save us from all this problem we find ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That has been Mr. Akin Adebayo, a journalist and a public affairs analyst who has joined us on Political Perspectives today to critically look at some of the things that is happening in our political space today. Political Perspectives returns next week at 11 a.m. on Tuesday next week, God willing. Mr. Akin, give our people your parting shot before we depart today.
Thank you very much. My parting shot is very, very simple and direct. We all, either we the masses or the government, should endeavor to do the right thing. Doing the right thing will put us or will position us in the right perspective. Thank you very much.
Until next week when I come your way again, I am ALABA.